Welcome to Letchworth State Park. My name is Elijah. I'm an environmental educator here at the Humphrey Nature Center, where the monarch butterfly is a symbol of summertime. And while they dazzle us with their brightly colored wings and friendly flight pattern for just a short period of time each year, they leave a lasting impression on us and can teach us a great deal about the natural world and the importance of protecting it. Monarch butterflies are insects, and like all insects, they have three major body parts we call the head, thorax, and abdomen. They have 6 legs. They have an exoskeleton, so unlike us humans with bones inside of our body, insects with their exoskeleton almost have a suit of armor on the outside that protects their soft, gooey insides. And like all insects, monarchs and other butterflies have a complete life cycle that we call metamorphosis, where they go through some change over time. The metamorphosis, the life cycle of a monarch butterfly, relies on this plant, milkweed. The female monarch butterfly seeks out this plant to lay her eggs. The eggs themselves are teeny tiny. They're white. They're only about the size of the tip of a pencil. They're a bit dome-shaped, and they have some ridges on the side and a point at the top. The caterpillar that hatches out of that egg is a very picky eater. Monarch caterpillars only eat milkweed. It gets that name from the milky white sap that comes out from a broken leaf. Very often, a plant out in the forest that has a milky white sap is toxic. It can be poisonous to mammals and birds, but it's not harmful to that little monarch caterpillar. In fact, the caterpillar eats the milkweed and stores that toxin, stores that poison in its body. For about 2 weeks of their life, they go through a patch of milkweed, munching away all day long. Eventually, that caterpillar's body goes through an incredible change that we call metamorphosis. The caterpillar will hang upside down in a J shape, pulsing its body, starting to loosen its old exoskeleton, and eventually that exoskeleton will split open right behind the caterpillar's head, which starts to expose the bright lime green colored chrysalis hidden underneath. The chrysalis is the new exoskeleton, so it's part of the animal's body. That chrysalis is what makes a butterfly different from a moth. A moth's cocoon is silk or plant material that's wrapped around the caterpillar, whereas the butterfly's chrysalis, being exoskeleton, is part of their body. The entire process, though sped up here, only takes about 2 minutes or less, and then the entire green chrysalis emerges. A common question about the monarch butterfly chrysalis is where the gold and black bands at the top and gold dots along the bottom come from. While scientists currently are not quite sure, a couple common theories are that they may help with camouflage of that chrysalis, breaking up its silhouette, making it more difficult for predators to find it as that chrysalis is hanging helpless for up to 2 weeks. Another theory is that the gold dots add some friction that assist with the removal of the caterpillar's old exoskeleton. After about 10 to 14 days, that bright green chrysalis loses the green color. The walls of the chrysalis itself become see-through, and eventually the butterfly starts to break its way out. They don't move very much. They can't fly yet when they first emerge from their chrysalis, so those brightly colored wings, while they may stand out and call attention to the butterfly, they warn predators that that butterfly is indeed poisonous. Seeming to struggle a bit, the butterfly pushes with its legs and wings on the walls of the chrysalis and finally breaks it open. Once the chrysalis begins to crack open, it really only takes a minute or two for the butterfly to emerge from that chrysalis. The video we're seeing right now is not sped up, it's playing in real time. Once this butterfly emerges from its chrysalis, it's not super hungry. You would think after hanging out in that chrysalis for up to 2 weeks not eating anything, this animal would be starving. But that's not the case. These butterflies can go hours, maybe even a day or two before they're going to start searching for that sweet nectar from flowers that they eat. With a few last pushes on the inner walls of the chrysalis, the butterfly's body slides out. When they first emerge from their chrysalis, the abdomen of the butterfly's body is very large and swollen. The wings are tiny and shrivelly. That butterfly climbs to the top of its chrysalis and hangs upside down, allowing gravity and muscles inside of its body to pump fluid from that swollen abdomen into their wings to extend them out. After a few hours, that butterfly is ready to take its first flight. Butterflies themselves have some really cool abilities. They have a mouth that's much different from that crunching, munching mouth of a caterpillar. A butterfly's mouth is what we call a proboscis. It's a long straw that's used for drinking nectar. Where the caterpillars were very picky eaters, the monarch's caterpillars only eat milkweed. Adult monarchs and other adult butterflies get nectar from any kind of nectaring flower. They are not so picky eaters. They have feet that they taste with. When a butterfly first lands on a flower head, it takes a few steps, almost like it's doing a dance on that flower. It's tasting that flower for nectar. With a butterfly's wings, not only can they fly, but they also use their wings for hearing. Sound works in waves. So the humming of a bird's wing beats makes sound waves. And those sound waves strike the wings of a butterfly, and they know that potential danger might be nearby. Butterflies have compound eyes, meaning each eye has many lenses. Unlike our human eyes that have a single pupil, a single lens in each eye, the compound eyes of a butterfly are full of lenses that are able to see ultraviolet light. The petals of many flowers have ultraviolet patterns that act as a big advertisement, a landing strip. Hey, butterflies, come here and drink up this nectar. All of this matters to us because when those butterflies are drinking nectar, they're also helping to spread pollen. Butterflies, like monarchs, are important to us humans because of their role as what we call animal pollinators. All flowering plants have pollen, which is a necessary ingredient for that plant to make seeds that eventually grow into new plants. Many flowering plants rely on what's called cross-pollination, where pollen must travel from one flower to another, and since those flowers themselves cannot get up and travel and walk around, they have to rely on wind, water, or animals to spread their pollen for them. Up to 80%, that's 8 out of every 10 fruits and vegetables we humans like to eat, rely on animals like monarch butterflies for pollination. But monarch butterflies are in trouble. Habitat loss on their wintering grounds means monarch butterflies have fewer and fewer places to congregate, all grouped together to try to stay warm through the cold winters in the mountainous areas of central Mexico. Throughout their migratory journey, less milkweed is available due in part to genetically modified crops. These are crops that are able to handle herbicides, plant-killing chemicals that are sprayed over farm fields. The College of William and Mary in Virginia says that these genetically modified crops are a major contribution to the loss of milkweed and, as a result, to the loss of monarch butterflies. Being a cold-blooded insect, so much of their life depends on the temperature around them. When the weather is really cold, their bodies slow way down. When the weather heats up, their bodies themselves speed up. And with climate change, we're starting to see longer stretches of hot, dry weather and longer stretches of very cold weather. And when it stays really hot for a long time in the summer, those eggs might not hatch. Those caterpillars might not be able to find milkweed that hasn't already over-ripened and become too fibrous, too hard for them to chew. And on migration, the adult monarch butterflies prefer a temperature range between about 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And we've seen in recent years, September into October, when normally monarch butterflies are migrating through Letchworth State Park, we've seen years where it stays too warm during that typical migration time. Other years, we get a short burst of that ideal temperature range, and then it stays too cold for those monarchs to be able to have enough energy to get up and start moving south to Mexico. But here in Letchworth State Park, we have an annual monarch butterfly project where we raise and release monarch butterflies. At the end of each summer, we here at the Humphrey Nature Center at Letchworth State Park raise monarchs from caterpillars. It's helpful for us to know that the caterpillars are such picky eaters and they only eat milkweed. So we go out to patches of milkweed not far from our Nature Center building here in search of these black, yellow, and white striped caterpillars. We raise them inside this tank until they make their chrysalis. And once they emerge as a butterfly, we participate in a really neat community science project called Monarch Watch. Through that program, we tag the butterflies with a teeny sticker just before we release them and let them fly. After about 10 to 14 days inside of its chrysalis inside our Nature Center, this butterfly emerged a few hours ago and it's ready to take its first flight. But before we release it, we're going to put on its wing this tiny little sticker. This sticker has a unique 4-letter, 3-digit code printed on the bottom. This one says ABSJ 410. This is the only sticker in the entire world with that code, and when we put it on the butterfly, this monarch butterfly will be the only one in the entire world wearing a sticker that says ABSJ 410. The idea with this tagging project is that we tag and release these monarch butterflies, and if anyone should find a butterfly that has been tagged, they can read the code on the sticker and report that information to Monarch Watch as well. That way, Monarch Watch can piece together a little bit more of the monarch butterfly's migratory journey. Because they're such small insects, it's still very difficult for us humans to understand how these monarch butterflies are able to migrate over such a huge distance. So this sticker tagging program is the best that anyone's come up with so far as a way to try to study that migration. So as we take this butterfly out of its container, now that it's ready to fly, you'll notice that I'm pinching all 4 of its wings together very carefully so that the wings don't rub against each other and don't rub against my finger, because the wings of monarch butterflies are covered in teeny tiny little scales. Think about scales on a fish that help them to swim better underwater. The tiny scales on the wings of a butterfly help them to fly through the air more efficiently. If too many of those scales get rubbed off, the butterfly's not able to fly so well. And on these orange and black wings, we are looking to put this sticker on what's called the discal cell. The discal cell is this shape of orange in the middle of the underside of the hind wing that's shaped kind of like a mitten. That's the cell of orange where I'm aiming to place this sticker. So I very simply, while gently pinching the wings together, press the sticker onto the discal cell. And once that sticker is put on the butterfly's wing, we let it go. When the butterfly is ready, it will open its wings and take its first flight of its entire life. But once they leave Letchworth State Park, the monarch butterfly's journey is far from over. In a calendar year, there are 4 generations of monarch butterflies. The first generation are the ones that have been spending all winter in central Mexico. In about the middle of February, the first generation monarch butterflies begin the northward journey, but they only make it to the southern United States. They find a mate, the females lay their eggs in the southern United States, and they die there. Their offspring, their babies, are now the second generation of the year. When they emerge as an adult butterfly, they continue the northward journey. They fly as far north as maybe the mid-Atlantic states, Virginia, the Carolinas. They find a mate, the females lay their eggs, and they die there. Their offspring then are the third generation of the year. They continue their northward journey when they emerge as an adult butterfly, and we see those third generation monarch butterflies arrive here to Letchworth State Park, usually just after the 4th of July. Once their young emerge as butterflies as the 4th generation of the year, by the middle of September into the middle of October, they begin the southward journey, where it took 3 generations to piece together the journey from the center of Mexico to Letchworth State Park. The fourth generation monarch butterflies fly all the way back themselves. So thanks to that enormous migratory range, monarch butterflies are potentially pollinating flowering plants over a range of at least 3,000 miles. They begin arriving in Mexico usually by late October or early November. And in Mexico, at the beginning of every November, they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, where they celebrate the lives of friends and family who have passed. One belief surrounding that holiday is that the returning monarch butterflies to Mexico represent the spirits of the friends and family whose lives are being celebrated at that time. There's a lot of monarch butterfly imagery that comes into play. The tissue paper is very fragile and blown easily in the wind, just like the wings of monarch butterflies. And the colors orange and black are also traditionally used for many decorations surrounding the holiday. In Mexico, the monarch butterfly is also called the harvest butterfly, because long ago their return to Mexico was a sign to farmers that it was time to begin harvesting their crops. Monarch butterflies matter so much to us because of their cultural importance, as well as the important role that they play as animal pollinators. We really appreciate you joining us as we talk about these wonderful animals. Please feel free to reach out via email for more information, or check out monarchwatch.org for more resources on monarch butterflies. The most important thing you can do where you live is to find a small area to turn into a monarch way station, where you can plant milkweed or nectaring flowers to help out monarch butterflies throughout their entire life cycle and throughout their migratory journey as they stop by your home.